Hi guys, this is Allison from AllyKat Creations. How are you? It's almost back, but not quite. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And if you get anything from my work, a connect the knot, connect the dot, an epiphany, a mind explosion, a new book to read, a new author to explore, please consider supporting my work. All the links are at the bottom of the description. I just finished doing a paint and sip because I didn't have to talk too much. This is Sky Balloons. This will be up for the next raffle. So if you are a channel member at a 3D, I only have one level, 3D, you get entered. One free number for this painting or any of the other paintings that I have done. It is whoever wins choice, what they want. I have a lot of other paintings that I've done on my paint and sips that are up this month's raffle. Last month was, the month before, was a pyramid. This is going to be one of my paint and sips paintings. So if you're interested in becoming a member at the 3D level, there's little buttons you click and you can join the membership squad. It's fun. Not only do you get free raffles, eventually in time, I will be doing member only videos. I was planning on doing a bunch of them and then the voice pieced out. I think for President's Week, I'm off 2 days, so I plan on doing some stuff exclusively for my members, video-wise. Please check out my website, AllyKat211.com, where you could see my paintings, my pyramids, and other epoxy fun that you can purchase. Doing that is really simple. You email me and show me what you would like. I do everything privately, by the way. Today I got my tea with honey, but I also have coffee. I slept in this morning. I woke up to feed Freya at 5:30 and then I waited for little Thor but I fell right back out. And then I woke up at like 9:30, which is really late for me, and little Thor was waiting. Check out the shorts. I have a Freya short. It's really cute. She is super talkative in that one. And I will be doing also a TikTok video collection compiling stuff. So Freya will be on there if you haven't seen the other one. It's just been very difficult not having a voice. Obviously, Blavansky sucked, but I had to get it out because I have to finish it eventually. I'm behind on my reading, so I do apologize to everybody. But today that I have my voice and I'm not reading something or straining, and this is relatively on the short side, but not the law of one. Been working on that while I can't talk. So a lot of this is also the questioner is like obsessed with archetypes in the tarot and stuff of that. I think it's really worth reading. It's just now plucking things out that would make sense to what I talk about. That I can do in layman's terms. Because a lot of things have been in a lot of us are getting a lot of downloads. Like me, I'm purging. A lot of stuff is going on. Let's just put it that way. So, energetically. So, throughout the last couple of sessions, there has been this fifth density negative polarized entity that's been affecting Carla, the channeler. And there's just a couple of things that this is only one session. I didn't there's a lot of things there, but I don't know, nothing like vibe to talk about. So, but this is like the one part. So this is session 87, May 12th, 1982. There's still a negative fifth density entity bothering the group, and the questioner continues to ask for updates, and Ra responds. The nature of all densities that is above third, that is shared both by both negative and positive polarities. Goes to 5. Ra states that the acquisition of the ability add more or less distortion, love light, light love of the one infinite creator. Because remember, everything is of source. So this is the hardest aspect for most human beings to comprehend unless you're in divine neutrality or practice non-duality. Everything is omnipotent, omnipresent, it's source, creator, God, whatever you want to label it as. It is on both. At fifth density is when it weans to then sixth density, and the negative has to polarize to positive. So we have to keep that in mind, that all is for experience and expression of wisdom and walking through shit in order to learn. This is the hard part that I love everybody, and here's my faithful chicken. When an entity chooses the negative path, the wisdom density, where power over others is gearing towards absolute power, when you harmonize with mutual love, asking upstairs for assistance, you are shielded from the forces of light. You're shielded from, not from the negatives, and you're shielded by the positive. It doesn't mean they can't manipulate your arena of experience. Uh, Once again, we have contracts with Source. We compose our lives of entities coming in and challenging us from other dimensional spaces and other existences in the multiverse, in the holograph, in the simulation that we all live. So the demons, the negative polarized entities, are for the most part, are contracted to come in and give you an experience to help you grow. Once again, it's all source. It's teaching you a lesson. I know right now I still haven't gotten clarity about my financial situation. I'm like, what am I supposed to take away from this? Like, it's a pattern. I need to stop it. Where does it need to stop? And no one's telling me upstairs, because I'm supposed to just light bulb moment figure it out. And it's really frustrating. I'm like over it. They want me to do my mission, and it's kind of difficult to do my mission when I'm working physically hard each and every day, going to a job, and it's just like a perpetual steaming rolling out of pieces of shit. But why I wrote that down and bring this up is that you have to claim your power back. This is really like what Ra is hinting to in this portion of the session. If you're calling up for assistance to shield you with love and light, and with high vibratory states of beings that are of the love and light, of the positive polarity, you won't really have to worry much about these entities. Yes, they're going to be there. They're going to challenge you, but it's for lesson learning. This is why a lot of channelers, and they go into this throughout the sessions, you got to question The entity. If you're a channel that's channeling a specific being or a specific council or whatever is flowing through you, question the shit. If they're authentic of the light, those questions that you ask have to be specific and they have to be meaningful. And a lot of the beings that are a fifth and lower, they can't answer some of these questions. And their resonance might appear to be the light, but they're not. And a lot of channelers, I don't want to name them. I'm not here to, everybody's perception is different. Are channeling false light or narrative agenda steered channelings, meaning they're delivering you a message in order for you to believe that it's a potentiality of happening. And, oh, listen to me, when an actual channel will tell you to go within first to see if that message even hits, and to take what your heart aligns with and leave the rest. So it's very important to understand that, integrate it within you. Because some beings, and there are a lot of beings in the galactics that channel through people that are love and light, but have agendas steered towards an agenda of power over others in an aspect. Some people that channel the Anunnaki, they're like, oh, we're coming back and we're claiming, the human race and we're going to, elevate you and do all this great stuff. That's an agenda. We got to do that stuff ourselves. I don't care how many Anunnaki beings you are in the other paradigm. It's great. I'm sure I have a few. But I'm telling you to do the inner work because it's humanity, it's humans that need to uplift our own selves out of the shit show that we wrote. That's the test. That's the major test. And then we graduate. A harvest, as Ra calls it. You can't graduate. We'll get into it later. But a lot of you that say sorry, not sorry, and then put in your negative connotized statement, you might be love and light, but you got a narrative to steer, or you're following a narrative because you're allowing other people to dictate to you your reality. I still haven't found my Rider-Waite tarot. I have the light seers. The questioner is like very, very involved with tarot. Supposedly, backstory is that Ra created the archetypes that some of the Egyptians did put pictures, and now we have this compendium of beautiful. That's the magician. We have the major arcana, and then we have the minor arcana cards. That's me. I'm the emperor. Aries also takes on the Fool. I think Scorpio is death. There's a lot to tarot. The devil. The Chariot. I just love how the Empress. The Fool. I like the Light Seers deck for its symbolism. Death, which is rebirth. Judgment. So I'm going through these, but there's a purpose to it. In the world, in the sections that I didn't write everything down, like Raw started with specific numbers and each card equates to a number, like the Three of Pentacles, the Star, the Moon, the Hermit, Strength. So he gives you a number configuration. I didn't really write that down. Because at the crux of the, you know, at the end of the day, justice, Hangman, the Tower, the Hierophant. Each of those are archetypes that we play out in our everyday lives. The tarot, for the person that is pulling the cards, is energetically entangling their energy field to yours. And they're getting the energy feedback from the entanglement to give you a message through the cards. This is just a tool. These are just tools. These are archetypes. That supposedly, okay, once again, I don't know if you want to believe me or not, but they asked about tarot and there's a large section, a couple of sessions about it. You can imagine why I like this deck. All out of number order, by the way. But session 88, May 29th, 1982, the questioner asked about the concept of tarot in its first recording. Ra responds that it came from Venus. Ra was on Venus before he upped his density, then came to Earth, by the way. The other planets do the same density dance that we are doing. It's just done a little differently depending on the beings. And It's not just a here local thing. It happens in all creation. Start off at first density, you go to second, then you're in third, then you go to fourth, you go to fifth, and you go up the ladder until you merge back with source. Then you go back down again, or sometimes you never really merge back with source because you already know you are source. So you go and venture different systems and different things to have more experiences with. Quote from Ra: the tarot was devised by the third density population of Venus, a great measure of your space-time in your past. As we have noted, the third density experience of those of Venus dealt far more deeply and harmoniously with what you would call relationships with other selves, sexual energy transfer work, and philosophical or metaphysical research, end quote. So things are different, planets, different consciousnesses experience different things in different extremes. Here we're lack, separation, and limitation, and animal creature comforts. I need that sometimes. Ross states the archetypical mind is a fundamental and great portion of the mind complex. The mind being a complex, with one of its components having a great resource of info for any of those who seeks the one infinite creator. Each of the archetypes, the thing in itself, Schopenhauer talks about the thing in itself in philosophy, has its own complex of concepts. So if you chose the theme of the death card as what you're going to play out in your life, that you're going to go through a lot of deaths, meaning endings, it doesn't need to be actual physical vehicle death, and then you have a rebirth in something. And I think that's one of my themes amongst many others, but that's just an archetype that some people have chosen. Oh, I'm missing the lovers. That's an archetype that people explore, having nothing really succinctly work out, because it ends and then there's a rebirth, and it ends, there's a rebirth, and that plays out with a lot of people in their lives. Others is strength, having strength to stand in your empowerment. Maybe other lives that you are concurrently living, a portion of you came into this consciousness and lacked self-empowerment, lacked having your own power, and not to say power over others, but standing in your convictions. You freely give your energy away to everybody and everything, and you never stand on your own 2 feet. You always rely on other people to do things for you, by you. And a lot of us are now learning how to stand up on our 2 feet and be trailblazers, right? These are the themes and archetypes that a soul will choose to experience in life. And tarot is a good depiction of what we can use in meanings to, when you put all the rest of the deck, everything has a spread and a placement and meaning to the person reading it. So why tarot is useful as a divination tool is it's helping you on a potentiality that you might not be seeing. It might bring out something inside of you that go, oh, okay, well, I gotta persevere here in this area of my life, but I have to let go of that aspect. Depending on who's reading you and what cards are drawn for you, and some decks have different meanings, but the overall concept stems from Ra. Ra states that archetypical mind is a fundamental and great portion of the mind complex, with one of its components having great resource of info for any one of those who seeks the one infinite creator. So once you understand that all of these tools are really another way of getting you back to source and understanding your journey, and each one of these cards is something to explore, to have more experience with, the better we're off. The portion that gets frustrating is when people do tarot cards as predictions, or they're reading like concurrent energy fields, which once again, right now, when you're reading for humanity, it's really hard to get any kind of actual info. And why I'm saying that, and I know plenty of readers that do this, a lot of their stuff hasn't really come to fruition as exact, because we're shifting rapidly, currently right now, in a plethora of different time spaces in third density linear time space. The Schumann resonance had at least 2 time dilations within the last couple of days, which is pretty huge. We're shifting time constantly. Individually, we're always shifting, because your state of frequency shifts constantly. As a humanity, the wavelength, the band of length that humanity is sitting on, all of us collectively are in that bandwidth. As the expansion of consciousness is occurring, whether it is subconscious, unconscious, and or you're conscious aware of what's going on, you're continuously shifting this higher. Sorry, I thought I saw something. I have a lot of spirit activity. So just keep that in mind. It's a tool. I have a crystal ball. I don't use it because it's a potentiality. Even your own life. I was told by many advanced people that could go into the Akash, that could go and see different timelines and what are the higher percentages of things happening. And let me tell you what, I still don't have a marriage. I still don't have a family. I don't know. My cats are dying. Thankfully, Frey is still the one left. But I've been predicted that I was going to get married like several times and have children several times, and it never took place. And that children doesn't need to be coming out of me. It could just be through a marriage. But I was told I was also going to physically have kids. Never did. I keep shifting my timeline. And as my timeline changes, so does the catalyst of experience that I chose to play out on different timelines. They continuously keep changing. And that happens for not just me, it's all of you too. So the questioner asks, what did Ra use in third density since he didn't use tarot? He created it, but he didn't use it. Ra, quote, you are aware in your attempts of magical visualization of the mental configuration of sometimes rather complex visualizations. These are mental and drawn with the mind, end quote. So Ra is really pushing here the visualization components of the tarot, but also that you create your own reality. Just like if anybody's into the Norse culture, Odin hung on a tree, get to the sill, and sacrificed an eye, and you know, whether you want to take that allegorically or not, he hung himself, the hangman, to gain the runes. They came to him in visions. He got the runes that way, so as Ra got the tarot in his way through visualization using the mind complex. The questioner asked about the major and minor arcana. The lower arcana was influenced by Chaldea and Sumer. So he just gave the priest class of Egypt the 22 major arcana. And as cultures were aligning and the people were learning the law of one, they came up creatively using visualization the rest of the decks, which is pretty cool. Even if you don't believe that Ra created it or that Odin created the runes, it doesn't matter. It exists and it's from source, right? Maybe. Again, align. I'm not here to tell you what to believe. What I am here is to explain some really cool concepts, which I love. I'm more of the oracle card sort. That's what spirit likes to use through me, higher self, the other beings, to give and give everybody messages through the oracle cards, but they're really no different. Each person is getting channeled information to put on those cards to help humanity. And it's just a tool to guide you. It's not something that if you don't believe it, you don't want it, you don't need to take it. And it's not of the devil is God. For those of you who are challenged by religion and its dogmas. Session 89, June 9th, 1982. The questioner asked Ra when his third density ended. Ra replies, 2.6 billion of your sun years in your past. Ra's all awareness of the concurrent simultaneous time, that it doesn't exist, but because of human standards, we only conceive time in past, present, future for our brains to comprehend things. So yes, 2.6 billion of your sun years. That's a lot of time. The inquiry of if Ra's third density coincided with Earth's second density, Ra states roughly correct. So Ra was already moving through third density Venus as Earth was just getting its vegetative states and mammalian life going. Venus became fourth density about this time as well. So as Earth is going through its second density cycle of millions of years of gradual movement of consciousness, getting less dense, we're still very dense. Venus already had gone through the fourth density. Ross says Venus became a fourth/fifth density planet later on. Full fifth density, though both expressions of density were possible on Venus. Ra goes on to say, in this time space, 1982, Venus is sixth density as a social memory complex, which left so Venus in that linear time frame of fifth and sixth. So let's make this make sense. How can you say Venus became fourth to fifth density? Because we're going through that right now on Earth. We're third through fourth/fourth density. We're not fully at a third, but many of us are already experiencing 4. Consciously, sub-octave of 4. We're not in a full octave of 4 yet. That's the into polarity, negative over here, positive over here. That's the split where we fully take on 4th density all. Right now, we're between 3 and 4. So that's an evolutionary step in itself, because now we're becoming more consciously aware of the potentialities and possibilities of the higher densities. We have more expanded consciousness. We have greater thinking capabilities. We are now playing with different types of where do you want to go and what do you want to choose and what do you prefer? This is with a stage, we're the bridge right now between 3 and 4. There's a bridge that eventually will collapse, where the 3rd density beings who are staying here will stay, and 4th will merge over here. It's a fading away. We're not moving anywhere. We're not, unless you're going up on a ship, and I salute to you if you do, but most of us are staying here. We're just vibrating at a higher density rate of subatomic particles, are going higher in fluxation. We're getting that conscious awareness ready to merge up to 4th octave. So we're in the bridge point right now. We're in between. We're in 3 to 4. And many of us are more vibrating on sub octave 4, some sub octave 4, and then many other people are on 3. We're still doing this ping pong match. We still have a lot to play out in the 3rd density experience. We cannot rush, because people still have to release. People have to go through their ego and really define and decide for the free will choice that you have to polarize positive or negative. And for those who feel like they're super awake, but yet you still hate, you still sit in judgment, you're still sitting in a very heavy ego, okay, and you're not letting it dissolve. Everybody has their own process of doing that, and everybody has their own ways of doing things, and that's going to take some time. So as much as you want to say you give compassion, I was on a Zoom yesterday and not being able to talk really. I really just got my voice back, sort of. It's still congested, but I could talk now. And there's some things that I heard that really made me send a lot of love and compassion to some of the people that were in the Zoom, because they're still arrogantly, in some instances, not all, projecting without realizing the bigger picture. And I'm just holding space for people for when they're ready to explore these concepts of a higher exploration. And once again, I am not alone in talking about any of this stuff. This is not my brand new concept I'm bringing to the table. I'm just delivering it in a way that some people might actually comprehend. The Law of One talks about it. Bashar talks about it. Daniel Scranton through the Arcturians, the Council of Nine, Dolores Cannon, the Ra Group, Quo, and so many other entities are talking very similarly about this shedding, releasing, purging, moving, and stop holding everything as severe. people are still placing very heavy and very hateful judgments out there into the ether that is not necessarily being purged by the person. It's a projection that is continuously manifesting that negative side of source. It's a lesson. Are you learning it? Are you honing in on it? Are you even aware of it? Your thoughts create things. So if you keep putting out there that there are people that do bad things to children, you're perpetuating that loop. When you stop thinking about it and you say, well, nobody's going to harm children, if enough of us think those thoughts, we're going to create a reality that we can jump into that everybody's not harmed. But we can't do that if you're still stuck in the negative, fear-based frequencies that you claim you're not in, but yet you continuously manifest for them because your thoughts become things. So what you put out into the universe is what's going to be attracted back to you. I also, before I get back into the raw stuff, want to challenge some people. Is your perception of reality correct? It doesn't need to be. There's no right or wrong. But because we live in a third density polarized negative, live in duality where there is good and evil, and you're limiting your perception on one side or another, and you're not looking at your side to see if they're causing any harm themselves. You just think everything's willy-nilly and you're not playing devil's advocate. The wise master, the adept, the student that's just discovering all of this fun information is playing devil's advocate, is assessing and analyzing what are the pros, what are the cons, what is actually happening to what is not actually happening. Is this really happening or is this a false flaggy thingy? What are you perceiving in your universe? And are you playing devil's advocate in analyzing it? Are you questioning your own side? Or are you just sitting there in CNN land with the syndrome? Because you have high hope that you made the right choice. There's no right choice. It's an illusion. And it's a hard one to drop. I play devil's advocate all the time because once you drop the understanding that you know it all, right? You know a lot of things. But once you give in to self, the real self, and you take a neutral approach, not neutral where you don't have a choice, like I choose the light, that's what I chose this lifetime, this concurrent life that I'm living right now, this body, I chose the light. So I'm neutral in looking at both sides because both sides are not perfect. Nothing is perfect in 3D. There are things that come to a close perfection. There are people who have achieved states of nirvana. But when you come into a neutral place and assessing without a bias, without an emotional attachment, without your ego in the way, and you're looking at both sides and you're being rational and logical, because for a female, that's not I'm more in my intuitive side than I am in my masculine side when it comes to things. I had to bring in my rational and logical standpoint and equate my brain equally to look at reality. Rod challenges you to do the same thing, is to look at all scenarios and see, what do you align with? how can you use the archetypes of the tarot as tools for your self-exploration? Once you understand that all planets and all beings and all things go through the same process, the only difference is the starseed envoys that are incarnate in human form is shifting a planet that's been stuck in density of the lowest variety, in the negative variety. And there, all the beings are watching us. It's a big show. And that's because we're doing this separation limitation in a very big negative extreme. And we're seemingly propelling ourselves out of that extreme. And they're watching to see how we do that so we can be their teachers and guides for when or if they ever choose to do a human life. And go into a third density earth, or they go into another third density experience and have limitation and lack and separation the way we had it. They're learning from us. They're just assisting in light. They're giving us upgrades. They're helping us. But it's not against our free will. We've asked for this help subconsciously. Many of us have vocalized it for years. We need help. Something has to give. And we need some kind of assistance out there. Hi, whatever you're a tangle to, or read that call and has been coming down and helping, guiding you. Many of us that are wanderers that came down here for missions knowingly, commissioned ourselves to be here to hold the light and hold the frequency. That's what we're doing. Switch hitting the tea and the coffee. But just recognize that the loci, the planets, have its own consciousness and it has its own evolution and its own density moving up ceremonies and graduation. Beings, the beta reticuli of third density is not the same as the sixth density beta reticuli. The draconians on third density, fourth density, they're not the same in sixth. We give such intensity down here. And we need to let go of the narratives and the stories that are being propelled and perpetuated. Your thoughts become things. So when you objectively listen to people, you're not really creating their reality because you are like, nah, I'm just listening. But I don't know. Put my defenses up, put my shielding up, put my wall up. Why I can't listen to certain things anymore, not because I don't love the people, is because I am not manifesting for the evil side anymore. Once you understand how energy actually works and how it is metaphysical and how your thoughts become things, it's how you manifest. Are you manifesting for the light or the darkness? And take a really hard look at yourself in your thought streams, in your judgments, and you're pointing the fingers as blame and shame. You're blaming God. It's just a game. It's a movie. Why are you taking it so personal? And yes, all of us have had experiences, have been in experiences, and are going through experiences we are not particularly happy with. We all are here to learn how to persevere and how to stand in our empowerment, to know the being that we really truly are, the real self. Go look at the Curtis books about the self. That will help you start integrating that information and hopefully walking a path that is not perpetuating the evil stuff. Things have to play out. They're going to play out. It's God's will. But are you going to perpetuate it, or are you going to actually start making the paradise that we all want? Yes. I want to create that paradise. The questioner is still asking about tarot archetypes, asks about concept complex. Ra, quote, a concept complex is a complex of concepts, tongue twister, just as a molecule is a complex structure made up of more than one type of energy nexus or atoms. Each atom within a molecule is its unique identity and by some means can be removed from the molecule. The molecule of water can, by chemical means, be caused to separate into a hydrogen and oxygen. Separately, they cannot be constructed to equal water when formed in the molecular structure which exemplifies water. The two are irrefutably water, end quote. Each archetype within has several root atoms of organizational being. Separately, the structure cannot be viewed. So all the themes that we play out in our lifetimes. All these themes is happening in us on a very subatomic level. And at certain junctures in our life with certain catalysts that arise, these cards will signify what viewpoint you're in, what archetype you're in, and what are you exploring in that archetype. You know, we could pull the Tower card, and within that Tower card is a collapse of something old to something new, or it could be a catalyst to something to come that will play out in your life that will change the course of you. The Death card, in conjunction with the Tarot, with the Tower, it's a death of something old rebirthing into something new. It's a metamorphosis. You go into the caterpillar analogy, there you go. I'm trying not to cough. I have a lot of phlegm that caused the laryngitis. If we were to be in an understanding that each of us personify the different cards in different phases of our life by the astrology that each of them have, and you can do a deep dive into your chart, into your archetype, into all these things. It will help you, if you're into that stuff, on some level of understanding your path, but your path is not defined until you define it for yourself. The cards are only there as a tool to guide you. It's not an absolute. Nothing is absolute, in my opinion and estimation. You hold the reins to your vehicle, to your soul. Your soul is really the one that has reins on you. It's going to steer you in a direction that you need. As much as I don't like my situation, I know I need it for whatever the reason that has not unfolded for me yet. But it's showing me that there are very authentic, loving, beautiful souls out there who have supported me and my work personally, have helped me eat in third dimensional form. And in exchange, I hope I'm expanding their minds to look deeper and to look more expansive at certain topics and things that can help them explore themselves and do the work on themselves, which is a slow rollout. It's not fast. For a lot of people, sometimes it is. But we need to take into account your personal journey. If you really like the archetype stuff from the Law of One, it's in book 4. I highly recommend reading it. There's a lot of challenging things that I didn't put into this because it's a little on the complicated for me to not have to quote all the time, and I'm trying not to do that. Each archetype within has several atoms of organizational being. So it's what you chose, and it's inside you. It's in your collective memories, and it's going to come out when it needs to. So when I have a tower moment, I need a strength card to come in with a judgment to help me navigate my death so I can rebirth into a sun moment. And maybe the moon might be there or the star might be there. You don't need to know all the intricate meanings of each of the cards, but I'm on the fool's journey. I keep leaping off cliffs to get different results, doing different, get different. And I am trying to change people in a certain aspect when I'm doing these videos, is to say, up until now, those who have followed that, but also those who are just like looking for different, doing different, we've been in a perpetual loop of doing the same things. Even if we change it up just a smidgen, collectively, we're still doing and following a similar pattern. Many of us are here to break that fucking pattern into smithereens to form a new pattern and a new life and a new existence. We keep doing the same things, different eras of time space. We're looping. We got to go up here. And that's the game-changing thing that we all are trying to portray, whether it be Bashar, Law of One Ra, quote, the Council of Nine, the Arcturians, the Palladians, the Syrians, and all the other likes. They're like, okay, you've been doing this for way too long. You've been negative polarized for way too long. You've had given your power away way too many times. Now it's time to empower yourself and move the fuck out of this shit show. Can't do that if you continue the loop. We keep perpetuating and perpetuating and perpetuating the same old stuff, thinking the results are going to be different. You're just handing your power over to another self, said number of a presidency, and you're hoping that he does all this stuff so that your paradigm can change, instead of you actually owning the fact that you need to change your paradigm for yourself. That person is only there to help shift in his mission that's going to shift things positively, even if there's other things nefarious going on. Take advantage. But you got to do the work. Changing your mindset, changing the way you're doing your life. Break habits. Do different, think different. We keep thinking all these people are out to get us. You're giving your power away. You're not empowering yourself to make change. Or even if you can't physically go out and protest or make the changes happen, like legislature and, writing letters, think it. Put it out there. That's how change happens. Because you're thinking different. You want different, you think different. You change your habits. Right? Are you going to eat the same thing and think you're going to get different results? And sometimes results take a time. Like I've been overpouring myself with supplements, not in a dangerous way, but black seed oil and oregano oil does take a few days for it to like have some sort of impact. Unlike antibiotics and stuff that take a day or two, this is taking a few days. But I'd rather do it organically, naturally, than to have to go spend money on stuff that I don't have. And many of the cases I built resistance to it. Not fun. The questioner asked Ra about, on average, what was the total population incarnate on Venus in third density? Ra, the Ra collective in small population dwelt upon difficult conditions. The Ra harvest in approximation was 6,500,000 mind, body, spirit complexes. Appropriately 32 million repeated third density elsewhere. We'll get into that because we're at this juncture right now. Ra, quote, to those who wish to sleep, we can only offer those comforts designed for the sleeping. Service is only possible to the extent it is requested. We were ready to serve in whatever way we could. This still seems satisfactory as a means of dealing with other selves in third density. It is our feeling that to be each entity which one attempts to serve is to simplify the grasp of what service is necessary or possible, end quote. Will those who judge sleepy people think again? What is this? This is very momentous. Okay, so 6,500,000 souls that are a part of Ra, which is a lot of us, harvested to fourth density back at that time. While 32 million of the Ra collective only, they're only talking about their collective, they're not talking about the entire populace of Venus, repeated third density elsewhere. And we're right in the juncture of Earth doing this right now. We were the Atlanteans in alien bodies who fell, the Lemurians that fell, the Muians, however you want to view whatever that terminology is, fell, and many of us come from those collectives. But we're also from other councils and collectives of social memory complexes that decided to come back here because we knew what it was to harvest and how to aid in graduation to the next density. Many of you are in the same boat as me. I'm not any different from many of you. There are going to be people who are here as newer souls that will not shift, not because they're bad people, but because they're new to human form and they're going to shift to another third density experience because they're just coming out of second, experiencing the octaves of lower third. Your animals are in that category. My Odin, Morgan, and Ethan cat, and even possibly my Taffy cat, they're all going to be human in the next cycle. However and whenever that occurs. I don't know if it's going to be on Earth. I don't know if it's going to be on another planet with humans or humanoids. Whatever have you, they're going to move up. And those that didn't make the harvest are going to repeat with them. They're going to be like the guides to the new souls. And many of us, I damn sure hope I never volunteer to go back to third density in a very, 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 very long span of time, space. I don't want that experience anymore. I've already lived this a bunch of times, but I'll be a guide to those beings in a fractal form. This is happening now. Stop judging. We're all shifting to 4. No one's going to get left behind. But the people that are not coming, they'll hit 4, having that experience and understanding of the frequency, but they're going to redo 3rd. Everybody's soul chose something. We can't judge in the choice that another person made, another self. It's just you choosing different experiences. Just you choosing a different experience. That's all. And those people that are sleeping, they're meant to be that way. We were never meant to wake them up. We were ones to supplant the information of higher consciousness because it could have been a choice that they could have taken. But once again, there are soul contracts and choices that people made that we can't supersede. I chose this experience for a reason. I might not like the reason in this human form, but I chose it for my soul to have a growth. Do I agree with it? Not necessarily. I could have chosen better. Maybe, possibly. We'll see. And I'm sure a lot of you are sitting in that frequency as well. Like we could have chosen a lot better. But we have the fail of forgetting to show us if you do enough self introspection and work on self, you will finally understand and enlighten your own self to what you are, which is a process. It's an unfoldment. I have a lot of downloads coming in right now. You can only realize what potentially you are when you stand in your empowerment and you drop the fucking illusion. Take off your masks. Play your authentic self. I walk through my life authentically. I don't change anything. I mature it as I go along, as I get older, as it has more wisdom walking through experience. I gain maturity and understanding of that maturity. And of course, you can change your thinking process, you can evolve. There's nothing wrong with that. Get out of your own way. Because I see many of you are in your own way. Sometimes I'm in my own way. I'm not here to judge anybody, and I'm just here to try to help spark something within you to say, hey, do different, get different results. You keep perpetuating by doing and listening to the same hateful spew, or that one side over the other side, and not seeing both sides because you hate the other side and you're like, I can't even go there. Well, why not? It's still source. Life is difficult. It was never meant to be easy. If it was easy, we would all excel, we would all be back with source, and we would know it all. But we do not. I don't know it all. I don't want to know it all. That'd be, my brain would explode if I knew it all. I like unfolding the mysteries that are in front of me. I like the unfoldment. I like getting my aha moments because I feel so full of high frequency when they come. It's great getting validated. Hearing my messages in other people is validating. It feels good. Not in an egotistical, put myself on a podium way either. Authentically feeling, wow, I'm not alone in my thinking. This feels great. I want more of you to have those experiences. There's a big resistance right now. People think they got it down. They think they know it all, when then they know nothing. They know about the third dimensional space. They're not expanding outside of the breach of third density. They're not getting out of the illusions. They think they might be. There's not many people that can talk about ascension and it be, all of us have different will have different experiences of how the ascension is going to happen. For each and every one of us is going to look different. There's similarities. That's why a lot of us talk about it. But there's no one authority. And when people are like, well, this person said this is going to happen, and that person said this is going to happen. And are you formulating your own knowing? Are you looking at are you weighing out other people and other people's perceptions and weighing a whole compendium of them and not just one person, not maybe five? You're looking at more than 20 different perceptions of how things are going to go. Have you dropped your personality just yet to formulate your real self, the true personality, your soul frequency? There's a lot of resistance to my information right now. A lot of resistance. People are still stuck in the obsessive looping that's being created, whether you like it or not, from the negative side. Not seeing both sides, and you're not analyzing both sides. You're not playing devil's advocate either. That murderer that got that high doesn't think he's doing anything wrong. Swap brains. Be the empath that most people have that ability to some extent. Put yourself in another person's shoes and go through their emotions. Get your step out of the way. Put yourself in those people's shoes. Maybe that person you criticized for being a certain way or doing a certain act had so much trauma and has so many layers of dark clothing on that the light can't even breach through them because they grew up in some up scenario that they chose to experience. And yet here you are as what you want to deem yourself as light, criticizing that being who needs more light, love, and compassion to heal. How can they heal if you're not doling it out little amounts? Some people have been born into the negative polarity for a reason. Maybe you were the one to grab them out of the darkness. How can you do that if you continuously judge that other side of source? Instead of understanding, you're there to help pluck them out of the darkness. You're there to help give them some light and compassion. Ra talks about in that portion of the session that two beings polarized negative out of his group. Two. They experienced fourth density negative, but polarized back positive in fifth. They needed that experience in a higher dimension of negativity. They didn't judge it. They didn't go, oh, whoa. Their service to themselves. They want power over others. Give the power back to yourself. Stand in your empowerment, not in an egotistical way. Stand for your convictions, your morals. And those are going to mature as you start expanding. I didn't think this way 2 years ago. And it's taken 2 years for me to realize that all things are source and there's unity consciousness, which I would like to be a part of. I am a service to source as much as I'm a service to others. I want to get us there, and I want everybody that is in that grouping of peoples, of beautiful souls, to realize the beautiful things we can achieve if we stop and do different and think different and manifest different. That's why I talked about Dark City, the episode where I had no voice. Dark City is an example of like hell in a handbasket going on. And then finally, the lead character makes a beach that everybody can experience. So if we have those powers, we can manifest a reality that all of us can experience. That's what that movie's basically telling you. Within its own matrix, within the hologram. It's just perception. Move your perception. View it from different points of view, not just from your two eyes. Look at things from every perspective that you could think of. Put yourself in other people's shoes. Feel it. Experience it, just like the blade of grass that you are concurrently happening to be right now. What does photosynthesis feel like? What happens when the wind hits you or the rain drops on you? If you could take yourself to those states of thinking and mind, your ability to shift into a higher reality is close to happening. We're stuck in a stalemate right now because certain things have to play out for experiences that need to happen for humanity. We're a part of humanity's consciousness. So as much as I want to shift to fifth, and I'm experiencing the other day, Freya was staring out the window, chirping and talking to birds. It was the cutest freaking thing. I have it on film. But I sat with her before I put the video camera on and was trying to connect with the birds too. It was magical. I never get birds like that on my deck. I don't have bird seed out yet. They were hanging out. And she was having a gay old time and chirping and talking to them. It was adorable. And it brought me to such a high state of frequency. It was very magical. Try to have more of those moments, whatever you connect with. When you think different, different things happen. We still have to play out certain things here. I'm not a happy camper about my circumstances, trust me. But I'm thankful for the people that have chosen me to be in their lives as me to have them in mine. Because they're keeping me afloat, keeping me fed, keeping me warm. And I can't thank enough of you for doing that and thinking of me. As much as I'm trying to give back as much as I can, you can see I'm like burnt out. I haven't had my voice go out last year. I think I did once. I think this is a year, every year kind of thing. But it affects that I can't do videos. Well, I persevere through that live. I'm like, I'm going to make this work. I don't care how. What happens if I was deaf? How to get my message out? Only to the people who know sign language? No. No. please take what was said and analyze your life. Think about when you wake up in the morning, what is your purpose? Why are you here? Not just on your 3D level, on the other levels. What do you want to create in your life? What will make you happy? You still have to play 3D, so, but on your spare time, create, explore, do something different. This just popped out of my mind. I don't know if I like that chick, the little character. I don't know if I like it, but it's staying there. But I did. I created. I'm also exploring going back to school. There might be a position that if the teacher does retire, there's an art job position that I already have my bachelor's degree for. I just need the teacher license credentials, but I also need a master's degree. So I'd have to go back to school and do it online. So I'm hoping that I could take that route and it could be covered, or I could figure out a systematic way of paying for it. Because I don't foresee this educational free stuff happening anytime soon from the tea guy. I have to jump on when the opportunity is presenting itself, and I'm jumping on that opportunity. Even though it wasn't necessarily presented to me, it was seeded by the teacher. She knows I'm an artist, and I'm jumping on it. So take that as it is. I have to create the reality that I can still survive in 3D and manifest the new world for all of us to explore. I hope you're on the same wavelength as me. Sending each and every one of you love, light, compassion, grace, shielding, and protective energy. Let's go within. Be the shoulder. Be the lighthouse. Seed your truths. Thank you all for your memberships. You're trying to help me heal, bearing with my life. That's like, thank you all for just supporting me. It really does hit here in my heart space. I really, truly appreciate each and every one of you. Please don't forget to hit that like button, share and subscribe. And thank you to the people that do that constantly and consistently. You guys rock. We have to be here for each other. And for those of you who are supposed to have Zooms with me and stuff of that nature, once my voice fully comes back, I will schedule that stuff with many of you. I have to catch up on some videos, but by Valentine's Day, I'm probably going to be alone. It's President's Day week. That it's like I have a 4-day weekend, so I will be able to catch up on a lot of stuff then, provided I don't re-injure and have inflammation in my vocal cords. So until the next one, guys, thank you for watching. Until the next one, bye for now.